The next video is the next installment for Animals Are Smarter Than Jack, and we're up to A Clever Mate. This event occurred in 1974, and this is exactly how it happened. It involved two pet sheep, one a weather-called Blue Tail, so called because as a lamb he had a rattle mark on his tail. The other was a small ewe called Wobbly. She was born with a soft protrusion at the top of her head that resulted in slight brain damage which affected her coordination. When Wobbly walked, she wobbled. Sometimes when she wanted to go one way, her body would go the other, and she'd occasionally roll over and become cast. Wobbly was happy though, and reared beautiful lambs. Both sheep were a few years old and lived in a 5-acre paddock with other sheep. One particular morning, Blue Tail, who never refused a feed of oats, came up to the fence by the shed where I was working and stood there barring at me. I told him he was greedy and did not need any oats. He kept calling to me, so I gave in and put some oats over the fence for him. He ignored them and continued barring at me. When he wasn't getting any reaction from me, he started walking away. He'd take a few steps, then stop and look back at me and bar again. So I got through the fence and began following him. He kept glancing back to make sure I was still there, at which time he would stop talking. He led me to the other end of the paddock where I saw Wobbly cast, legs straight up in the air. Blue Tail walked to about 10 feet from her and stood still, apparently to make sure I had seen her. As soon as I walked over to help her, Blue Tail just ambled off the other way to eat grass. And many people say sheep are dumb. And that ends that installment for Animals Are Smarter Than Jack.